So it turns out this scripted video thing kinda worked out really well, so let's do more.
Mods, crush your skull.
The year is 2024, and I will be turning a whopping 18 years old. My god, I'm gonna be an adult. Either way, this means we have 17 years of games to cover because 2024 has only just begun, so there's really no point in picking a favorite game this year when I haven't played a single 2024 release. This is pretty straightforward. I'll be listing my favorite games from every year from 2006 to 2023 and saying which of them is my favorite of them all. The only rule I'm going to follow for this video is that remastered games will count for their original releases simply because otherwise there just wouldn't be many games for some years. Remakes, however, will count for their release year. Also, I will be going off of games' original release dates. So as much as I love me some Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, it was originally released in 2004 despite it being released in 2006 in the US. But enough yapping, let's get right into it. 2006, the year the world went to shit simply because I was born. Admittedly, there aren't really any options for 2006. As you're gonna see, these early years didn't really have many choices. Our options for 2006 are Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Gears of War. In my defense, the only other games that I could find from this year that I'm interested in at all playing would be The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and New Super Mario Bros., both of which are far from priorities right now. But back to our contenders, Pokemon Pearl is a game I grew up with. I have very fond memories of attempting Nuzlocke and losing to Mars Barugly again and again. On the other hand, Gears is a recent game I played just last year, which I talked about in my last video so I won't get too into it, but Gears is a very fun third-person shooter that has me begging for Xbox to make a collection similar to what Halo got so I can play Gears of War 2 and 3 because there's currently no way to do so on PC. Legally. If I had to pick between the two though, I think it'd have to go to Gears of War. As much as I like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Platinum completely outshines them in every way. Gears on the other hand is a very solid and fun time the full way through. My game for 2006 is Gears of War. Moving into 2007, we once again don't have too many options. This year is dominated by Mario with Super Mario Galaxy and Mario Party 8. Other releases from this year were Uncharted 1, which I did play, but I dropped it halfway through. It's just okay in my opinion. Halo 3 and God of War 2 are future contenders for this slot though, as I do hope to get into the Halo franchise one day, and I'd love to play the original God of War trilogy. I just don't have a way to play them. Similarly to last year, we have one game I grew up playing and one more recent enjoyment. The difference is Mario Party 8 is one I grew up playing with my sister all the time. It is easily my most nostalgic Mario Party entry. As for Galaxy, I played it once the 3D All-Stars collection was released. I actually did own it on the Wii, but 9-year-old me was sadly too terrible at video games to get very far in. The only thing is, I never actually finished Galaxy. There's this one water race world that you have to use inverted controls on, and it pissed me off too much to care anymore, so I just dropped it, but I do really enjoy the game a lot. I promise I will beat Galaxy eventually. However, it just doesn't sit right with me giving this slot to a game I haven't even finished yet. So my game for 2008 has to be Mario Party 8. Hey, what do you know? 2008 has one more option for us to work with. The three for this year are Mario Kart Wii, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Wizard 101. Please don't click off the video, let me explain. Firstly, there are a ton of games from this year that I could see taking this slot in the future. If Gears 2 is as good as they say, it could take this slot. All it takes is one company to remaster it, please and thank you. Other contenders would be Dead Space, Metal Gear Solid 4, Fallout 3, Fable 2, Prince of Persia, and Persona 4. God damn, that's a lot. Several of these got remakes though, so I'm more likely to play those. As for our actual contenders, all three are games I grew up loving. Mario Kart Wii is another treasured game I grew up playing with my sister all the time, and it's still my favorite Mario Kart to this day. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, while not my favorite Smash, has done some incredible things with Subspace Emissary. It also helps that I'm a filthy casual and am not competitively liable. Wizard 101 is an MMO me and my sister grew up playing a shit ton of. As much as I love the game due to the good memories, it easily comes in last place, however. Between our final two, it's gotta go to Brawl. As nostalgic as Mario Kart Wii is, playing Subspace as a kid was the coolest thing ever. Guess what? 2009 has a whole 5 games that qualify for the list. Who woulda thunk it? The games are 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, Left 4 Dead 2, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and Batman Arkham Asylum. A very competent lineup for sure. Some future contenders could be Infamous, Uncharted 2, and Dragon Age Origins. Right away though, we can kick off Mario Bros. Wii and Left 4 Dead 2. NSNB Wii is another one of those games I grew up playing with my sister, but not nearly as much as Mario Kart and Mario Party. Left 4 Dead is a fun game I play every now and then with my friends, and with mods the game is nothing short of hilarious. However, it just doesn't compete. Coming in third place has to be Pokemon Soul Silver. This was one of my childhood favorites, but it's up against 2 truly amazing games. Between 999 and Arkham Asylum, I have to give it to 999. As much as I love Batman Arkham Asylum, 999 is a masterpiece and my 3rd favorite game of all time. I love visual novels, I'm not gonna hide that fact, but I love the mystery, suspense, tension, and amazing twists throughout the game. Hell, I love this game so much I beat all the routes in 3 days back in 2022. It was my entire life those 3 days, and several days after watching videos on this masterpiece. I still haven't played its sequel yet, Virtue's Last Reward, but I definitely will at some point in the future. Unfortunately for 2010, we have to revert back to only 3 nominations: Xenoblade Chronicles, Pokemon Black and White, and Mario Sports Mix. There are a ton of games that could take this spot in the future though: Mass Effect 2, Bioshock 2, God of War 3, Red Dead Redemption, Alan Wake, Fallout New Vegas, and probably even more. Now, as much as I adore Mario Sports Mix, as I grew up playing it all the time, it's not making the cut, which leaves us Xenoblade and Pokemon White. This matchup itself isn't a very fair one, as I haven't even beaten Xenoblade yet, which on top of that, Pokemon White was the first ever video game I got alongside my DSi, which I still own to this day. Not the game, sadly. I'm pretty sure some asshole stole all my DS games back in elementary school. That aside, I am enjoying Xenoblade quite a bit on the rare occasion I actually play it. Again, I just don't want to give this slot to a game I haven't even finished yet, and Pokemon White is a very nostalgic game for me. At least 2011 brings us up to 4 games, 2 of which are Mario games: Super Mario 3D Land, Mario Kart 7, Batman Arkham City, and Minecraft. Some future contenders include Gears 3, Uncharted 3, Portal 2, Zelda Skyward Sword, Infamous 2, and more. Unfortunately, Mario fans, none of them are winning. Our final 2 is simply incredible competition, and they stood no chance here. I also don't really have an attachment to either Mario Kart 7 or 3D Land, as I just hardly ever played them compared to other Mario entries. But back to our finalists, this one's gonna hurt. My entire life, Minecraft is the game I've invested the most time into, and I'm sure the only game that can even rival that at all is Fortnite. But even then, there's definitely a sizable gap. Batman Arkham City, on the other hand, is a game I just beat, and the last few hours absolutely blew me away. Its improvements on Asylum are simply amazing, but I just can't ignore how substantial of a presence Minecraft has had over pretty much my entire life. From playing on my dad's PS3 to Pocket Edition, to the Wii U, to Java, to Bedrock, it's never left. I've also met the vast majority of my online friends from Minecraft, It's a very important game to me, and I'll never forget the amazing memories I've had over the years, so I have to give it to Minecraft. 2012 is yet another year with not many options. Well, let's see what we have. Pokemon Black 2, White 2, okay, that's pretty solid. Pokepark 2 Wonders Beyond, okay, quite a dip in quality, but that's okay. Skylanders Giants, classic, but not Game of the Year potential. And Pirate 101, please don't click off! Future games that could take this slot include Halo 4, The Walking Dead, Far Cry 3, Persona 4 Golden, and Borderlands 2. Let's cut the bullshit. Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 are once again very nostalgic Pokemon games for me that I grew up playing. The same applies to the other games, but the difference is Black 2 and White 2 are actually really good games. Even as a Pirate 101 defender, it just doesn't stand a chance here. In 2013, we've got 3 nominations, being Pokemon X and Y, Super Mario 3D World, and Tamagotchi Life. There are plenty of big games this year that I just haven't gotten to yet. I have started The Last of Us and it's been pretty fun thus far, but I'm still at the very beginning and haven't played in a while. Grand Theft Auto 5 is another massive release that I have played but didn't get much mileage out of personally. Other games include BioShock Infinite, The Stanley Parable, Rayman Legends, Pikmin 3, and Batman Arkham Origins. Back to our big 3 though, Mario 3D World comes in last, as it doesn't even come close to matching the other 2 for me. I love Pokemon X and Y. They're easily the Pokemon games I sunk the most time into growing up. But even so, no 3DS game comes close to the amount of time I sunk into Tamagotchi Life, the winner of 2013. Tamagotchi Life definitely stands out on this list so far, as it's the least gamey for sure, but I adore this game, even if I've seen everything it had to offer over and over again already. Folks, we have arrived at one of the final years with only a couple options, 2014. My picks this year are Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Some future contenders include Infamous Second Son, Bayonetta 2, and Far Cry 4. As great as Mario Kart 8 is, I'm afraid it's getting cut first. It's probably the best Mario Kart objectively speaking, but Smash and Omega Ruby have that subjective advantage, which is what this list is really all about. Of these 2, I think it just barely goes to Smash Wii U. Omega Ruby is one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time and my favorite Pokemon remakes, but Smash for Wii U has given me amazing memories and some of the most fun I've had on Smash playing tournaments with my friends.
So stupid! I had you that game!
2015 ends our streak of hardly any games with 5 contenders this year. Our nominees are Splatoon, Super Mario Maker, Rocket League, Undertale, and Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Surprisingly, a pretty tough year. Real quick, some of our future nominees are Batman Arkham Knight, which I'm playing through now, Bloodborne, Ori and the Blind Forest, The Witcher 3, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Fallout 4, and probably more. Splatoon was my introduction into shooter games, and I found it a blast to play back in the day. Super Mario Maker was a dream come true as a kid. Making your own Mario levels was simply an amazing feeling, even if I was horrible at it. Rocket League is a game I played pretty consistently in 2020, and was so much fun to play with my online friends that were way better than me. Undertale is a game I jumped on a few years after the trend in 2019 when I watched the YouTuber Tyranitar2 play it. Let's just say, I very quickly fell in love with it. I ended up getting it for Christmas that year on Steam, and didn't play it until 2021 when I streamed it. Finally, Great Ace Attorney Adventures. This is the most recent game I played of these 5 and it's great, but on the weaker side of the Ace Attorney games that I've played. It's just not on the level of its sequel or Trials and Tribulations. Of these 5 though, it comes down to Undertale and Great Ace Attorney 1. Despite talking negatively about it, it may shock you that Great Ace Attorney Adventures isn't my game this year. It's Undertale. Did I trick you? No? Oh well. There's just something so special about Undertale that I really can't describe. It checks all the boxes for me: several routes, hilarious dialogue, fun characters, deep lore, and of course, those cozy pre-COVID vibes. Luckily, 2016 brings us to the final year with only a few options, excluding 1 year, but that's a ways away. Our 3 options being Ratchet & Clank 2016, Cluster Truck, and Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Not like there's too many other choices though. There's Doom 2016, The Last Guardian, Uncharted 4, and Gears of War 4. They're all games far off my radar. I'm not entirely sure whether I should count Persona 5 Royal for this year or 2019, because this is the year the original game came out, but I know Royal is different, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments, you Persona-ers. I still haven't beaten it regardless, so we don't have to worry about that for a while. But now I'm just getting sidetracked. Ratchet & Clank wins here. There's no debate. Cluster Truck is Cluster Truck, and I just haven't played Civ 6 all that much. 2017 will go down as one of the best years in gaming history. So many amazing titles released all in this 12-month period. Since this year is so huge, let's just knock out the future contenders first. I have owned Breath of the Wild for a little over a year now, and I have only played a couple hours. I'm also about halfway through Fire Emblem Echoes, and it's great so far. Other games I haven't played at all yet are Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil 7, Nier Automata, Gravity Rush 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Uncharted Lost Legacy, Cuphead, and Metroid Samus Returns. What a fuck ton. Now for the actual games fighting for the crown. ARMS, Getting Over It, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, and Fortnite. Let's knock out Splatoon 2, ARMS, and Getting Over It simply because the competition this month is too fierce. I'm only slightly embarrassed that Fortnite is still here, but I can't deny I like the game and keep up with it decently often. Thankfully though, it doesn't beat the other 3, so we can remove it. It is unbelievably hard to pick between these 3. As I'm writing this sentence in the script, I'm not entirely sure which game takes it. Mario Odyssey is the only game here I wouldn't give a 10 out of 10, but it's still an excellent game and one of my favorite Mario games of all time. Great Ace Attorney 2 is my second favorite Ace Attorney game of all time. Hellblade is one of the most recent games I've played, but it is an immersive and narrative masterpiece. It's entirely possible I'll change my mind later, but right now, I have to give it to Super Mario Odyssey. Even though I rated the game lower than the other 2, I think it's my favorite of the 3, which this video is about, not necessarily the best. We're not slowing down in 2018 though, as we have even more games that qualify this year. My picks for 2018 are Detective Pikachu, don't judge me, God of War 2018, Just Shapes and Beats, Bloons TD6, Among Us, Spider-Man PS4, and Smash Bros. Ultimate. The future contenders are Red Dead Redemption 2, Far Cry 5, Celeste, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and more. This might actually be tougher than 2017 for me. Detective Pikachu can go. I have a childhood bias, but it simply doesn't compare. Among Us can go too. I didn't get into it like everybody else seemed to, but it definitely had fun times. Just Shapes and Beats is a lovely indie game that mixes the bullet hell genre with the rhythm genre. It's great, but just not on the same level as the others. Unironically, Bloons Tower Defense 6 is a great game that I love and play pretty frequently, but this year just has too many goats. God of War 4, Spider-Man PS4, and Smash Ultimate round out our top 3. This is another case where I think my answer changes depending on the day you ask me. Smash Ultimate was an event. You simply had to be there. I don't think there will ever be a game that can rival the hype season that Ultimate had. Nothing just beats a Smash reveal. That is, except for the God of War E3 reveal, which was phenomenal. God of War 2018 is a narrative masterpiece that hooked me on a world and characters that I fell in love with. Spider-Man PS4 is another amazing game with one of my favorite Spider-Man stories ever. While everything else about these games were outclassed in Miles Morales and the sequel, it's still all great. That being said though, God of War 2018 just has to take it this year, truly deserving of its Game of the Year win. 2019 was unfortunately another pretty shallow year for contenders. Our list includes Super Mario Maker 2, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Mortal Kombat 11, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you know me though, you already know who won this year before clicking on this video. But before that, some future contenders are Death Stranding, Devil May Cry 5, Jedi Fallen Order, Gears 5, Control, and The Outer Wilds. Persona 5 Royal might also count for this month. Let's go over the ones that didn't win. Pokemon Sword and Shield were definitely video games. Super Mario Maker 2 was a solid sequel that I just didn't get into nearly as much. It's really not the same without the gamepad. Mortal Kombat 11 was a really fun game I played with my sister during the quarantine. Didn't actually play all too much of it though, so this leaves my favorite game of all time, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Three Houses is far from the best game I've ever played. There are plenty of problems with it, but it was one of those games I played at the right point in my life. I played my first playthrough throughout the 2020 quarantine, and after that, I played the rest of the routes throughout the rest of 2020 and 2021. One day I will make a video talking about why this game is so special to me in more detail, so stay tuned for that, whenever that may be. Entering 2020, we have a couple of options, including Animal Crossing New Horizons, Fall Guys, Henry Stickmin Collection, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Astro's Playroom. Some of the future options include Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Doom Eternal, Ori and the Will o' the Wisps, and Final Fantasy VII Remake. Despite having more games in the earlier years, there isn't much competition here. New Horizons is a great game, but one I didn't get into nearly as much as I would have liked to. Fall Guys was a big craze this year, and that definitely had its moments, but it's just not going to get the victory crown. Do you get it, like Fall Guys? The Henry Stickmin Collection is pretty fun, but nothing incredible. And Astro's Playroom is practically just a tech demo for the DualSense controller. This leaves Spider-Man Miles Morales, an overall pretty great game. The story comes a little short for me, but the gameplay enhancements secure this as a PS5 necessity. Yet again, we have another wacky year with 2021. Our games fighting for the crown are Bowser's Fury, Power Wash Simulator, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, Metroid Dread, Crab Game, and not Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl because they are terrible. Future options are Kena Bridge of Spirits, which I've tried to get into before, Halo Infinite, Deathloop, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, and a few more. Bowser's Fury can go since it's pretty much just another tech demo. Banana Mania is a game I picked up after watching my friends speedrun the original Monkey Balls on Twitch, but ultimately I haven't played it like I have other games here. I love Crab Game a very unrealistic amount and played it all the time with my friends. Unfortunately though, it isn't taking the win. Power Wash Simulator is a game I have invested an embarrassing amount of time into, but still enjoy thoroughly. However, Metroid Dread has to take it here. It's an amazing innovation of the 2D Metroid games, and there's just so much to love about it here. We're nearing the end now with 2022. This is another close year for competition. My nominations are Pokemon Legends Arceus, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, Stray, Splatoon 3, God of War Ragnarok, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And no, I'm not kicking them out instantly. Future 2022 contenders are Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Cult of the Lamb. First game I'm kicking out is Splatoon 3 since I have hardly played it. In fact, I think I played the demo more than the actual game that I spent $60 on. I'm also booting Stray since it's a good game but not anything special. You may think Fire Emblem Warriors would take it since Three Houses is my favorite game of all time, but you're wrong. The game got boring fast. Despite several attempts to get back into it, it underdelivered hard. You may be surprised to see Scarlet and Violet still here. Well, they're going away now, so there you go. I actually really enjoyed these games, mainly just because of the online multiplayer, which meant I could finally fulfill my childhood dreams of going on a Pokemon adventure with my friends. Still runs like shit though. For our final 3, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, God of War wins. Legends Arceus is a great step forward for the franchise, but it just doesn't compete with Ragnarok. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is an amazing 3D platformer, but again, doesn't compete with Ragnarok's amazing combat, story, characters, and pretty much everything else. Here we are in 2023. If you paid attention to my last video, you know 2 of the 3 games that qualify for our final list. The games in question include Fire Emblem Engage, Spider-Man 2, and Mortal Kombat 1. Quick little editing note here. As I'm editing this, I've actually been getting into Lethal Company pretty recently, and it's actually really fun. It wouldn't win this year either way, simply because I just haven't played enough of it yet that it wouldn't be right, but it has a lot of potential and maybe in the future could become my favorite from this year. I am playing through Hi-Fi Rush right now, and it's been a blast so far, so it's definitely a future contender. Hey, Editing Braven back one last time to say I did actually beat Hi-Fi Rush very recently, and it was amazing. I actually do not think it wins here, even though I think it is my highest rated game of this year. It's not my favorite. Others include Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Alan Wake 2, Jedi Survivor, Pikmin 4, Mario Wonder, Starfield, and Sea of Stars. 2023 really was another phenomenal year in gaming. Again, if you saw my previous video, you'd know I have plenty of problems with Fire Emblem Engage when it comes to pretty much anything except for the gameplay, which is exceptional. Gameplay alone isn't enough to cut it here though. You may also know how conflicted I am about Spider-Man 2, but in all honesty, I just haven't played enough of Mortal Kombat 1 to justify it winning less than 10 hours. Whereas with Spider-Man 2, I've spent so much time just swinging in the city and listening to music. Despite an iffy story, I think it definitely deserves to win here. Well, that's where we end it for now. Even if I wanted to include a 2024 segment, I haven't played a 2024 release yet unless the Apollo Justice Trilogy counts, but I don't personally count it as a collection or even the remasters in the collection. I'd like to make a follow-up video in a few years in the future when I experience more games, especially from my earlier years, but I guess only time will tell if we ever get there. Hey, you could help by liking and subscribing to ensure that video does get made eventually though. Either way, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video where I plan to talk about a TV show!